Hello and welcome to the now named and the now continued Necrofancy Podcast. Today we're joined by our mate Brad, who's come on board with us to talk mad shit about paranormal topics that none of us really believe in, but it's fun conversation. So with that being said, let's get into today's topic. Today we're talking about cryptids. Now, for clarification, a cryptid is described as an animal whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated. So this means a cryptid is any animal that has never been described by science, usually something very unusual along the lines of the Loch Ness Monster, something which stretches the limits of what is scientifically plausible. So who wants to go first?
Do you want to go by the document? Do you want to go with yours first? Do you want to kind of do one each rather than going through the two at a time?
Yeah, I say do one each. Cool. Yeah, so I'll start. Coming at you with probably the most famous cryptid to have ever funnily walked across the face of the earth, Bigfoot.
Sure, that's how he sounds.
That'd be done.
Yeah, he just sounds like someone stubbed the toe.
You just can't say Stubbsy.
So, just to clarify, Bigfoot isn't one thing. Bigfoot is the term used to describe the legendary race of ape men found all over the world, supposedly. The term is more often not associated with Sasquatch, the humanoid cryptid found all over North America. Like I said, Bigfoot is essentially an umbrella term and it can be found all over the world. For instance, the Yeti can be found in places like Tibet, Nepal and India. China has their own Bigfoot by the name of the Yeren, which I believe literally translates to wild man. Further examples of Bigfoot around the globe include the Almas, found in Central Asia, the Hibagon or the Hinagon, found in Japan, the Batut, thought to inhabit a nature reserve in Vietnam, the skunk ape, found in the southeast of the United States, including Texas, Georgia, Louisiana, but most notably Florida, the Boggy Creek monster, found in Thuk,
maybe?
Thuk in Fuck, Arkansas.
In Fuck, Arkansas.
And the Yowie, which was prevalent in Aboriginal mythology in Australia. Fun little note about the Yowie. It's described as being the most aggressive of the species, with reports of it being seen tearing the heads off kangaroos and dogs. It's also been seen attacking humans as well, however that's obviously quite rare.
Also rhymes with cowie. Keep going.
Yep.
So.
And the most famous Bigfoot of all, fucking Sasquatch, found in North America.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you watch Big Letters, also Australia.
I literally had no idea any of these existed. I thought, it was just a term used for the one.
Well, I always knew like there was the Yeti in Sasquatch.
I thought Bigfoot was just Bigfoot, as in, we've seen a creature. That's the name of it.
Bigfoot. Aye. Well, so did I. And I started doing the research, but I knew like the Yeti existed as well.
Aye. I thought the Yeti was just a separate thing. I didn't think it came under the.
Well, I figured they'd be the same thing because they're both like, ape men creatures. Yeah. So when I did the research, I found like it's essentially an umbrella term for creatures of that sort of description.
What do you think it is then? Since you've got like it's spread across the world in different continents. Do you think it's just a sighting of like a bear on its hind legs, or if you were to look at it like logically and say it doesn't exist, how do so many different people around the world have the same concept?
There's a theory here about what they may have descended from, which I'll get into when I carry on with this. So, as you can imagine, a Bigfoot is a heavy bipedal, which means walks on two legs, humanoid ape. It's believed that a Bigfoot stands at around 8 to 10 feet tall. However, the Japanese Hibagon stands at around 4 to 5 feet tall.
Smaller than the average guy.
It's a lot less. Monkey, man.
It's just a lot less fucking terrifying, really, isn't it? I would definitely bash a Hibagon.
It's just a hairy guy.
Just
me dad.
I don't know how to shave.
You see me dad in Japan.
Dad doesn't trust us with razors.
A Bigfoot has dense fur, ranging in colours ranging from red to white to brown. It also, and you'd probably not believe this one, has big fucking feet.
Really?
Honestly, blew my fucking mind. Truly groundbreaking.
Proper size 14s in the Jordans.
I has to
Man's gotta
fucking
get-
order them specially.
Man's got to get custom docks.
You see man walking the GD? Fucking hell, can't help you.
Oh,
Can't help
he
you, fella.
fucking is. King of train
One
shit
shoe.
so that cunt walks in. So some people believe that Bigfoot are the descendants of the prehistoric giant orangutan Gigantopithecus, whereas others think that it descended from prehistoric hominids such as Neanderthal man or Australopithecus. Some sightings of Bigfoot can also be traced back to bears, somehow. 'Cause I just feel like you'd know a bear if you've seen
Aye.
one.
Yeah.
The lot fatter.
Yeah, I mean, they're also just built differently.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like all the concept art and the Bigfoot, like the infamous Sasquatch footage, you can see like they are quite clearly humanoid. Whereas if you look at a bear on its hind legs, you can see its hind legs. Well, even its entire body, it hasn't got the dimensions
It's just like a
of
dog when it's
an
standing
ape man.
up.
Yeah, essentially, like
It's like
they
front legs are
definitely
like,
aren't
Didn't
they aren't steady. They aren't steady on the hind legs, so I feel like you would know it was a bear.
Hmm.
Yeah, they won't stand up for that long either.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more of a like fucking. I'll quickly look bigger than you.
Well, I think
Even
the
though
longest
I'm
it would
definitely bigger than you.
was a documentary I seen before was where they rub the fur on the back from the back on the tree, so they kind of stood for a while rubbing the back on the tree, and it leaves the scent.
They are not to mark the trees doing
Yeah.
that. Aye. But even then, like they're propping themselves up against the tree so they can stand up for as long as they want, really, I guess. But so because it's the most famous one of all, I feel like it's fitting to go more in depth on Sasquatch, the biggest bastards the woods have ever seen. The Sasquatch is the type of Bigfoot said to inhabit areas of North America. The term Sasquatch was first used in 1920 by British Columbian schoolteacher J.W. Burns, which is an anglicised version of the Halkomelem, which is, I believe, a tribe of of indigenous people in Canada. The word Sasquatch, which means similar to the Yeren's translation,
It's got a
wild
one.
one.
It's a.
Stories of an ape-like creature roaming the forests of North America have been around as long as some of the Native American tribes had started in certain areas, which was backed up by the finding of cave paintings of a tall, hairy beast. However, the earliest written account was made in 1811 by David Thompson, who was mapping regions of Canada and the United States of America during the time. He said that the Spokians, which again were a tribe of indigenous people in the USA, I believe in a race of giants which inhabit a certain mountain off to the west of us. And that's theorized he may be talking about Mount St. Helens, which I think is in Washington State. Thompson spoke to the Spokians, and according to Thompson, the Spokians told him of a race of hairy giants that would steal salmon and people while they were asleep, which, to be honest, is just fucking hilarious.
Gotta get me fish. That year.
Aye. 6 salmon in one hand, bloke in the other.
Oh,
Fucking starving.
Like three baskets full of fucking like rotten salmon.
Hey, stop by mine.
Pure Ben.
Got the
Get me
munchies
clothes
here.
first.
Yeah, lads, I know we'll probably ruin the meal, but I think we should eat this Ben.
I could eat a Ben.
Good shout that, whatever the fuck they're called. I was going to say John, but it's probably not fitting.
Sassy. They're all called Sassy.
Sassy, that's the one.
Fucking lips. This is also the first time a footprint was mentioned for a Bigfoot. Thompson said the giant's left footprints 1.5 feet long.
Jeez.
I'm not entirely sure. Like, is a foot the measurement of a foot the size of an average male's foot? Is that where that comes from?
I think.
It shouldn't be. Well,
Never
actually, yeah.
mind.
No, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think you're right. It's like 12 inch, yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty fucking big, actually.
Yeah.
So Thompson spoke to the Spokians, and according to them, they would steal salmon and occasionally people from local villages. Apparently, the Sasquatch is also fond of kidnapping in general, really. In 1957, a man named Albert Ostmus reported being stolen in his sleep by a Sasquatch, similar to the stories of giants told by the Spokians. He claimed that in 1924, when he was searching for gold, he felt that someone was carrying him while he was sleeping. Ostman also claimed that when he woke up he could see 8 feet tall Sasquatches with long arms and hairy bodies, with the exception for the padded feet, which lacked hair at all. He also stated that they appear to live as a family, similar to modern apes, which I suppose backs up the theory of Bigfoot being descendants of prehistoric apes. So, when I was doing the research, I was torn between talking about the infamous, it's called the Patterson-Gimlin film, and an account I saw about a supposed standoff between prospectors and a tribe of ape men. But the account of the standoff was so fucking cool, I had to include both of them. But for the sake of time, I'll try to tell the condensed versions. So we'll start with the film. There's no doubt in my mind that most of you will have seen the legendary Patterson-Gimlin film from 1967, filmed by the eponymous Robert Patterson and his friend Roger Gimlin. So the pair had set off on horseback to investigate claims, and also any kind of story where they set off on horseback is just guaranteed to be a fucking good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Tell me one bad story
me.
where anyone set off on horseback.
Can confirm. The Hobbit, there's one. You know that shit's gonna be lit.
Lord
there's Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I don't know why I chose the Hobbit over Lord of the Rings first off, but I pictured the dwarves leaving the Shire. Any western.
Any western.
You're not gonna walk, are you?
There's a cool bit in Mad Max where he gets put on a horse.
Django,
well, that's a western.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the pair set off on horseback to investigate claims of the creature roaming the nearby woods of Orleans, California, where footprints were supposedly found. The 59-second clip shows a hairy humanoid figure, which is notably female, which, honestly, I wasn't looking for Bigfoot titty, but now I know that. Man's going to look for Bigfoot titty. Walking through the woods of Bluff Creek. Halfway through the clip, the creature gives Patterson, who I assume was operating the camera at the time, a look of sheer disgust, but continues on her merry little way into the forest without halting. Probably because he was checking out a Bigfoot titty.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn.
They decided to pursue it. God damn, look at the hair on that tit.
Hey, Pa, come look at this. Yeah, they were the prospects, weren't they?
No, that was that's the second one. This is about
right.
The two fellas who went into the woods to look for Sasquatch.
As soon as
so
they see
decided...
it, fucking slap the legs.
Woo!
We got a tit, boss! Put that gold there.
So they decided to pursue it on horseback, but it was lost amongst the heavy undergrowth. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, that's been like the legendary go-to clip of Sasquatch. And again, the clip had been highly debated and thought to have been a hoax for a long time. Personally, I don't think that clip is like legit, but I do believe, like, to me personally, I feel like something like Sasquatch or the race of Bigfoot could exist. Because like, there's a lot of uncharted territory, like still, I guess, in the US wilderness.
Yeah. Even places like the Amazon, you could never rule it out. Sheer scale alone.
And, like, what's to say that just because we haven't discovered something doesn't mean it doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Right, so on to my fucking new favourite story. Prospectors v Ape Men handicap match.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
In 1924, the same year as Ostman was pinched by the family of Sasquatches, a prospector by the name of Fred Beck and 4 others were in a mountain range near Mount St. Helens. Today, the area is known as Ape Canyon. The group had been active in that area for about 6 years, and in the surrounding areas as well, and had found several large tracks, the largest measuring 19 inches. The prospectors had built a sturdy pine log cabin in Ape Canyon, which they used for shelter in the night. But every night for about a week, they could hear strange noises around them, like whistling or a thumping, as if someone or something was hitting its chest. One day, Fred and one of the prospectors, who was given the name Hank, headed out to get some water from a nearby spring. It was there that Hank spotted a hairy humanoid creature about 7 feet tall with blackish brown hair hiding behind a tree, so, naturally, Hank fucking shot at it.
Naturally, his name's Hank.
Naturally.
I don't
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you, I don't trust you.
He's Hank with
was
the
fucking-
strap. He's not
I
gonna,
was gonna say
not gonna fuck him out.
Hank was fucking born with a strap. The large animal then disappeared down the side of a canyon. Again, rightfully so. The pair then headed back with the water, telling the others in the cabin about what had just happened. And probably because it put the fucking shits right up the rest of the lads, they all decided to leave the next morning to avoid being caught out in the canyon come nightfall. Some clever cunt decided to fucking scare a Sasquatch by shouting at it. Come nightfall, 5 prospectors were sound asleep but were woken up at around midnight when a tremendous thud against the cabin wall scared them awake. Squinting through a hole left in the wall from the impact, Hank saw 3 ape-like creatures like the one he shot at the spring. These creatures, dubbed Mountain Devils by Hank, which is a cooler name than ape men in my opinion, began to throw rocks at the cabin and attempted to break through the door, which was braced with a pole that was scavenged from a bunk bed. Apparently, a hairy arm reached through a hole left in the wall, like fucking dog soldiers, and tried to grab an axe and take it out of the hole, though it was unable to get it out. Despite the rest of the group being armed, Fred and Hank fired at the creatures while the others gripped their rifles in the corner of the cabin, which, again, fucking fair dues. Fred and Hank would stop shooting when the creatures would ease off on their assault, hoping they would understand that they had the choice to leave peacefully should they choose. Which is a bold move, to be honest with you, since you're in their territory, you shot at them, and you're giving them the chance to fucking leave peacefully.
Fair dude.
Despite the fact one of you lads is just trying to fucking blat at another one. So this attack lasted until sunrise, and as soon as the prospectors saw that it was bright enough to stay outside, they eased out of the cabin. Not long after, Fred noticed one of the mountain devils on the edge of Ape Canyon, about 80 yards away. He fired his rifle, maybe letting off a warning shot or completely forgetting about that whole living peacefully angle, but this time the shot didn't miss. The animal was hit by the round and collapsed and tumbled down the gorge 400 feet below. Under the impression that there was no better time to escape, the group retreated from Ape Canyon, bringing only what they could fit in their backpacks. Now Fred, who is supposedly acclaimed clairvoyant, believes the creatures were of supernatural origin, and because of this, a body will never turn up. Similarly, the body that supposedly fell 400 feet down the gorge was never found. The cabin built by the prospectors, according to Beck, burnt to the ground many years later, which is convenient. And like I said, I've got no idea how legitimate this story is, but, fuck me, it's cool and definitely needs to be made into a film. Something like Dog Soldiers meets Evil Dead, a cabin in the middle of fucking nowhere with 5 average Joes having to fight their way out the canyon.
Mate, it's already written. That's the best thing about that story.
Exactly.
Like, who needs to even
everything you
adapt that
need-
into a script? Like, just copy and paste that
everything you
shit into
need
like
to
scenes.
make- I want Sam Elliott as one of the prospectors,
Yes.
and I want
Michael Shannon.
Sam Elliott, Michael Shannon just play the 8 men.
All of them.
Or every one of them. It's just him in different bits of air. Right, so who's next?
Do you want to go, Norm? Or do you want me to go?
I'll try and get this Bunyip one out of the way.
Yeah, no worries.
Because it's fucking... I'm dreading it. Right, I've got this big bastard called the Bunyip.
You chose it yourself, to be fair.
Yeah. I wish I
was
fucking...
given the
We
Bunyip.
didn't just-
I
we
was
didn't
up to the
drop
half
burden of the
fucking
Bunyip
one,
on you.
finishing this.
Dude, I was watching like Sasquatch.
I thought you were going to say you were out there looking
Sasquatch
for it.
documentaries.
I was out in Hull.
Just fucking...
Man was searching the wild and rolling flatlands of Hull.
Just in a
looking
shirt
for
and
the
boxers.
Bunyip.
Didn't realise it was the other side of the fucking globe. This fucking supposed giant creature was born from Australian Aboriginal mythology. It was said to creep...
Like the Yowie.
Yeah. It was said to creep around in swamps, billabongs, little creeks, riverbeds and waterholes. The earliest supposed sightings were in the 1800s and has been passed around in Aboriginal folklore. So many variations of the Bunyip descriptions, like fucking the amount of fucking drones I've seen. It's
Yeah, I
fucking-
remember seeing that was one of the choices and Googling it, and there was just loads of different
Yeah,
concept art.
I think you and I looked at it, Brad. And
Yeah,
one of them
we
was like
did.
a saber-toothed tiger, and the other one was like this weird, like, melted squid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suppose that
so
makes it a bit cooler, because like no one's actually seen it enough to
Yeah.
have a clear idea of what it is.
Yeah. George French Angus, in his account of a water spirit, that the Marundi people, by the way, I'm going to fucking butcher pronunciations because I can't speak fucking anyway.
Sure, they'll forgive you.
Butcher the
if they're
English
listening.
language anyway, so you might as well butcher the Aboriginal language.
They haven't got fucking YouTube, have they?
Australia definitely have YouTube.
I'm on about Aborigines. That's where the fucking...
They don't all live in huts. Anyway.
Someday. Same ones, okay.
Hashtag not all Aboriginals.
The Burundi people of the Murray.
Murray.
Murray. There's a fucking joker. Murray River.
Hooray.
It was feared immensely. This was back in 1847, and they had difficulty describing it. They usually described it as a kind of giant starfish. Fucking...
But that's not scary.
No.
Like, starfish freak us out a little bit, but I feel like... Oh no, because if you cut a starfish's little point off, they grow back, don't they?
No. You've seen Hulk, haven't you?
That is, yeah, that is
2003.
a bit weird.
Bastards. Yeah, fair enough, that's quite scary.
Yeah. It's going to be like a butterfly up close, like in SpongeBob. Far it, it's fucking lovely. Oh, fucking close. Fucking shit yourself, man. In 1851, in an Australian newspaper named the Australasian newspaper, recorded an Aboriginal carving on the bank of Fairy Creek, not too far. What?
Sound it out.
Today, Junior. Not too far from Ararat, Victoria. The carving was called the Chellicum Bunyip.
You have picked quite possibly the fucking worst region of the world.
I can't...
Because you can barely read anyway.
It sounds alright in my head, but fucking what comes out my gob?
Oh, yeah, I can think like a motherfucker, but I can't talk.
That's the thing. It showed an outline of the bunyip, which had been speared after killing an Aboriginal man. It was claimed in the 1850s, until the 1850s, Aborigines made a habit of going back to the carving every year to retrace the image, giving it a little touch up. It was 11 paces long, and this is a quote, 11 paces long, and 4 paces in extreme breadth.
What's a pace?
It's a pace.
I know.
I think it's just like one step.
Just a foot.
Quite large.
11 paces in feet.
And 5 paces 10.
The whole like
paces to feet.
when you're gonna shoot someone 10 paces, then turn around and all that shit.
Yeah.
One pace is 2.5 foot.
Oh, is that right? Got you.
So
fair enough. When you convert that, it's big.
Yeah.
It's
big, lad.
Big.
Big curve. Despite them going back every year to retrace it, sadly it has faded away. Robert Browsmith's Aborigines of Victoria, dated 1878, worked on 10 pages on the bunyip. In conclusion, and this is his quote, not mine. I'm not saying this. In truth, little is known among the blacks. I don't know why he called them the blacks. Just...
What else has he got to say?
It's great that second episode in we're already on thin fucking ice. Nice one, 1800s. Thanks a lot.
It's a quote, so I'm alright to say it.
Fair.
Yeah, you got away with saying the N-word because you were reading of Mice and Men. No, from George Steinbeck brought in, so I'm not racist.
In truth, little is known among respecting its form, covering or habits. They appear to have been in such dread of it as to have been unable to take note of its characteristics. Which...
Hey man, I've just seen this kid massive monster down by the watering hole, but I couldn't even begin to describe it here because I couldn't look at it because it's that scary.
Honest mate, it's that scary I forgot it even existed.
It's the same thing as changed me on Facebook, like, I can't believe this, man.
Can't believe I've just seen down by the watering hole.
Comment fucking, what's up, hun?
Just proper upset, what's up? No, I've just seen a bunyip.
What's a bunyip?
Fuck's a bunyip?
I honestly didn't even know. Like, you describe it. No, it was that scary. I
mean,
couldn't even imagine it.
A bunyip
It's
doesn't
like all
sound
of
scary.
H.P.
No, it
It's like
doesn't
all
at
of
all.
H.P. Lovecraft's fucking books.
It sounds like a
this-
fucking cake from Greg's. Ooh, I'll have a
I'd,
bunyip.
I'd probably scrap a bunyip. Like,
Ooh.
sounds like no. It sounds like some sort of savory dish. Like have onions and like.
Yeah.
Give me a list of
Green
these
meatness.
cryptids and the names, and I'm gonna fight the bunyip out of anyone.
I'm gonna fight the hibbergon.
What?
The hibbergon, that 4-foot fucking Bigfoot.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, good shout.
He's probably got.
I feel like you might
strength
vastly
in the wrestle.
underestimate him though. He might be like Wee Man, not Wee Man,
he's
Hornswoggle.
He's probably gonna get like retard strong and like kick the fuck out of his.
He's probably gonna come out from under the stage every time with a hammer.
It was a shillelagh, not a hammer.
Ah, well.
I'm even in the odds.
I've only got like 9 inches on the guy, to be fair, like, or a foot in 9 inches.
Right, so there's a couple of characters. Fucking hell. Categories this thing fits into when it's being described. 60% of descriptions of sightings are of it resembling a seal, swimming dogs, which is just other seals. And 20% of their sightings are it having a long neck with a small head. Any other descriptions are ambiguous beyond description. Description. The seal dog variants are said to be...
So hold on. All of the other descriptions are that shit that can't be described.
Exactly.
Well, it's either a seal, it's either a swimming dog, or
Oh, yeah, back it up.
or it's whatever you want it to be.
It's fair game, it's not copyrighted.
It's just so vague.
You drew the fucking short straw, really. You got the shit
know.
in the stick of your norm, I'm sorry.
Honestly, my fucking head was banging this morning. I was talking to Rach about it.
I'm in faith.
It's like,
mate.
did you know about this
tried
Bunyip,
talking
man?
this-
Fucking, it's Raj's fucking. She's like,
I tried talking to Sarah for like just once about about Bigfoot. And I was talking to her while looking at my laptop, and I looked up and she was just playing Animal Crossing.
It's just gone, just left. Literally
I'm fucking
packed our bags and left.
room. They fucking took the light fittings and that. I was sitting in the dark before I knew it. Landlord's grin at the door.
Landlord.
Smuggle. The seal dog variants are said to be between 4 to 6 feet in length, with shaggy brown or black coat. These ones are meant to have round heads that look like a bulldog, prominent ears, no tail, and whiskers like a seal or an otter, which is either really fucking terrifying or fucking cute as fuck.
I was thinking cute, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like quite nice.
I'll
Actually.
take this for a walk.
Just imagine the drool though. It's fucking bulldog's drool, like.
It's like cute drool on it.
Yeah.
It's like a knee way kind of harm your drool.
It's like, oh, didn't get us on it though.
Like a mastiff drool is a bit different. A mastiff drool's like, give us the biscuit or I'm literally going to maul your hand off.
Aye. that something that, like, that fucking creeps us out when it's like staring at you, drooling.
Aye.
Don't let him fucking.
Yeah, that's like
Oh, yeah.
instincts talking then. It's like, I'm not your pet anymore. Like, I'm
You
an
domesticated. Oh yeah, settle down.
Stroke is all you want to, but I will not hesitate to go for your throat. Matter of fact, keep petting us, or I'm going to go for your throat.
The long neck variety is said to be between 5 and 15 feet long, with black and brown fur, large ears, tusks, and a horse and or emu-like head, which is funny as fuck. Like, I fucking hate emus.
Australians have always had beef with emus. Like, they lost an
Mate.
entire war against emus.
Everyone should have beef against emus.
Yeah, but the Australians had a legitimate war against the
Oh,
emus.
yeah, you did, didn't I? I forgot about that.
19,
Didn't they get beat?
1920.
Oh,
What the fucking arses kicked by a bunch of flightless birds?
You know, have you seen emus on fucking Far 3?
The well-organised
emus.
military ranks
Nah,
of
they're
emus.
not emus, they're cassowaries. They will fuck your shit up. They've got like a fucking 4-inch talon on each foot.
Fucking scary. Kangaroos
Really
are
strong.
fucking scary as well. They'll fucking
Mate,
claw
have
you.
you seen that video of the kangaroo like banging on someone's glass window outside the house?
Yeah.
Mate, fuck that.
Terrifying.
Fucking
Australia's a fucking nightmare country.
People fucking box up kangaroos as well.
That video, the guy who runs up and just bitch slaps the kangaroo for breeding his dog.
Aye.
He even has the fucking audacity to point and tell it to fuck off after he's breeding.
Can't you let
Go
it
on.
agree? He's like,
On
I've
your way.
overstepped the line here, haven't I?
You know what?
So
That was-
sorry, mate. Oh, yeah.
Fair enough, boy. Fair enough.
Good left hook on you.
He's got to go back to his kangaroo family crying because he got mad out to be a bitch.
Me
It's
Google
also-
history is Deptford pubs, Bunsip, Bunyip, emus. Are emus
Bums.
dangerous? War on emus. Being indoctrinated.
It also has an elongated maned neck about 3 feet long and loads of folds in the skin with a horse-like tail. Aborigines have described it as an amphibious nocturnal creature lurking around lakes, rivers, swamps, billabong type environs. Anyway, that's probably a fucking nightmare anyway, without this fucking big bastard.
Anywhere that's already too warm and too humid to be in.
Yeah, and like the fucking nightmare fucking insects and shit.
Anywhere warm is just fucking off the cards. Like to live, to visit, you're like, it's all fine. I might see some shit while I'm there, but at least I get to
I'd be
come home.
more than happy to visit Australia, but to live in Australia,
Yeah.
nah.
Like the odds of you being killed by a massive spider or something greatly increase when you live there.
They have like
Sure there's
snakes going up the toilets, like
Oh,
swimming
man.
up.
There's a lake in Australia where the water can give you meningitis.
Jeez.
Fuck it hell.
How is that fair?
That's what.
There is
that's
no
why
God.
fucking we all dump fucking criminals there.
Aye, true.
Perfect punishment.
Oh,
Yeah,
where
and
to
now
live
they're
for
Australians.
Australia?
It's not the perfect way to found a country, is it? It's all the wrong uns. Put them out of there.
It can swim swiftly using either fins or flippers and has a loud, terrifying call. He also likes crayfish.
Bunyip! Bunyip! God, good look describe me. Bunyip!
I could also be a seal or a hippo or a fucking
I could
octopus.
potentially be
But
a
who
swimming
knows?
dog.
I started with a fucking starfish at first. Fuck you. And your fucking scientific findings. I'm not actually real. See you in a
It
bit.
hasn't got a
That's the
terrifying
entire
call.
call. It's like a full
It
paragraph.
hasn't got a terrifying call. It's just in some sort of existential nightmare.
Aye.
What the fuck am I?
Somebody please describe us accurately.
Someone put us in the right
Fucking
kind of genius.
I don't even know what a bulldog looks like. And I look like it.
I just want some sort of classification.
Feel bad now.
Stuff food space on this man.
Feel bad now for something that doesn't exist.
Although some legends, probably most, depict it being bloodthirsty and a predator of humans and has a knack for eating women and children, like all fucking monsters. Other genders and ages are available. This big fella also lays turtle-like eggs in platypus nests. Imagine the look on Perry's fucking lass coming back. Fuck this,
Platypuses are already an absolute mistake. So I
Aye.
guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
They've got a bill. They're covered in fur. They've got flippers. They've got a poisonous barb beneath the elbow.
They are just a
They
fucking
lay
shit
eggs.
mix of animals.
It's like got loads of spare parts and just wanking one out.
Aye.
Like, yeah, Gabriel.
So what you can do with that?
What if I put this bill on a duck seat, right? I put it on a weasel's body. Give it a chill like a bather.
God, he alright.
God.
Lie down.
God.
And
She's never
gonna come
back.
No,
But
we'll sort it out
I
tomorrow.
missed
We'll
the
sort it out
dinosaurs,
tomorrow.
man. I
We'll
just
sort-
missed
and now
the
your son's
dinosaurs.
gone, man. He's gone.
I want the
He's
dinosaurs.
trying to come back to
It
your
wasn't
glory
your
and that,
fault.
but he's not doing
It
very
wasn't
well.
your fault.
I want the I'm going back to puss.
Do you want to take away?
Get Chengs in. Get Chengs in.
Yeah, I'll put Phil on.
James.
Come on. Have a drink. Right, here's some artwork of the Bunyip. If you would like to open your folder.
Okay, I'll open the
It's called Bunyip Fella.
Bunyip fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll open the Bunyip fella
Where am I
Right.
looking?
folder.
The first one is Bunyip 1890.
Okay, that is.
It's like an album.
That's a seal.
No, Bunyip 1890. That's the first one around.
None of these are named. Oh, no, there it is.
Yeah.
Bunyip 1890. That's the one that I'll be terrified of because it's just a fucking saber-toothed tiger.
Obviously, we'll put this on the fucking YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a dog, which seals are.
You
And
know
it's just
what? I
some
kind of see it looking more like a dog than a saber-toothed tiger now. Without look at the ears.
The look of the fucking Aboriginal man, just like, oh, fuck. Right.
What do now?
Oh, fuck. That's always the last fucking few seconds.
I don't want to beat it.
The one, it's... Fucking hell. I should have named these, like...
Yep.
250px Bunyip. That's like the fucking octopus type.
That's
250 what? 250 XP? Is that much you get for fucking killing it?
250px Bunyip, 1935.
It's kind of like it's got fucking electric cables for legs.
You know, did you ever play
an upside down fish for a heat?
Dude, how's that shit?
What about shitty insults? Why am I looking? Yeah, electric cable legs.
Like, shut your man, strap with cable legs.
And fucking wings at its arse.
How the fuck is that shit on land? Like water, I understand, but like, how's that motherfucker walking?
He's fucking slapping.
Doing his best.
Did you ever play the first Half-Life game?
No, I didn't. I've never played any Half-Life.
There's these weird little, like, look like dogs, but they haven't really got a face. It's like someone's kicked the head of a pug into its chest.
That's just
and
a
it's
pug?
just got this, yeah, essentially. And it's just got this, like, blue, black, circular fucking mass on its face that shoots electricity from, and it looks like one of them.
Right. Well. Nah, I know there's, like, I never got the crack about the Half-Life 3. What was that about? Because that was just constant for years.
So Half-Life 1... No, Half-Life 1 was released in, like, late 90s, early 2000s. Half-Life 2 was released a fair while after, and then they've been asking for Half-Life 3 for the past 15 years.
Oh, right, so that's still going then. Right.
Yeah.
I got a bit off track there.
Non-Aboriginal Australians made loads of attempts to understand and explain the origins of this big bastard for over 150 years. 1933, Charles Fenner thought that maybe actual origin of the Bunyip myth lies in the fact that from time to time seals have made their way up the Murray and Darling rivers, hence why the seal likeness comes up. He provided some examples of different seals that made it inland, which they're fucking terrifying. It's not like normal seals. You know, they kind of look cute and alright. Them ones are fucking horrible. And also, I don't know if you've heard the fucking seal shout.
Yeah, I want to feed them when I was in Florida.
Fucking hell, they're loud. So that's probably where they're coming from.
Yeah.
That's fair, actually.
And obviously, like, seals, they're more toward the ocean, aren't they? Or seas. So, like, them coming up inland, I've probably never seen them before. There's a place in Hartlepool called Seal Sands. And
I wonder why.
Yeah.
do tell.
Funny enough.
Only someone from Hartlepool could name that.
Fucking seals
There's a seal on land, so...
I've been down there before.
What's the seals?
It's sadly right next to all the fucking industrial area. Breathing in all them fucking lovely chemicals.
So there used to be seals before they died out.
Yeah.
Fucking sealed. Sealed, signed and delivered.
Mm.
Yeah, they're like... Where that is, it's like... It has to be about 2 to 3 miles from the coast. Which is pretty far. That's, like, obviously where the tide comes in. He also said the smooth fur, prominent apricot eyes, and the bellowing cry are characteristics of the seal.
I think man fancies it. You can say anything has apricot eyes.
What's that seal?
Yeah, you got lovely apricot eyes, yeah. Fucking yellow eyes, yeah.
Unless it was just that fit, I couldn't describe it.
Oh,
honestly, man, I saw this creature was that fit, it was terrifying. I can't even describe it here.
Right, here's where I'm going to absolutely butcher these fucking pronunciations, like, right?
I mean, you've done a fucking bang up job so far. So.
Which pronunciation is a fucking shit word for people
It's a hard enough one to pronounce in
can't
itself.
talk. I've only just fucking mastered it. Right. Another suggestion of what these...
His first word.
What these... Shit. Oh, it's rage coming in. Another suggestion of what these things could be is a cultural memory of the extinct Australian marsupials, such as, bear with us, Diprotodon, Zygomatrus, Notoferum, and, fuck, Jesus, Palachestes?
Pile of chesties.
Pala fucking chesties.
Mattress and pile of chesties is what I got from there.
This connection had been made by Dr. George Bennett of the Australian Museum in 1871. Scientists have also speculated that it could have came from prehistoric bones or even prehistoric animals.
Sorry, I kind of not laugh at that. I was expecting you to laugh there, Alex. I'm disappointed.
Well,
I'm trying to be grown up about it, but I
Sorry.
can't. Get L bones.
Why am I need prehistoric bones?
Aboriginal bones.
Carry on now.
Early European settlers were waiting to discover the beast and full well believed that it could be real since Australia had so many strange animals, as we all know. And also like strange fauna that you fucking can't find anywhere in Europe.
Something that has to be especially fucked if you look at it in Australia and going, that's horrible. Because they're just, like you're saying,
it's right
live
next to the
side by
duck-billed
side.
platypuses and the kookaburras, and you're looking again. It's not right, that, like.
They're fucking...
It's, bit fucked.
Just the first time you see a kangaroo.
Oh, is that more or less
yeah.
fucked than the spider that can bite your leg off, aye?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
we'll put it on the more side, but...
Well, it's up par with a 60-foot snake, like, but...
What's that
was very
fucking
impressed.
giant fucking bunny rabbit? What was that? And to their possible belief of it was the strange and unfamiliar calls and cries they heard throughout the whole fucking country. As well as bringing their own European folklore, that of the Irish puka, which I've not a look at, but it sounds funny as fuck. This just reinforced the idea of this existing. Right, I've got loads of fucking recorded sightings from between 1840s and the 1850s. These were located in southeastern colonies of Victoria, New South Wales, in South Australia. As the settlers made their way more around the country, they found some shit. The Hume find of 1818, Hamilton Hume and James Meehan found some large bones at Lake Bathurst in New South Wales. They
That's
didn't call it
right.
Oh.
That's one name you pronounced right.
Which one?
Bathurst, but only barely.
Bathurst?
Barely.
Bathurst? Didn't read it. Bathurst. They didn't call the animal a bunyip, but described the remains that it was very much like a hippo or a manatee. It's possible the bones were, fuck's sake, Diprotodon skeletons, as mentioned earlier, and they were sometimes compared to a hippo. Here's another one. Wellington Caves fossils. I will get better at this. I'll get better at me fucking speech.
The biggest
If I did
words
it,
I've ever heard.
I'm quitting fucking all fucking jobs. Fucking stay at home.
The last 20 minutes of this this recording is just you butchering Aboriginal names and failing to name Latin classifications for animals, which, to be fair, fucking fair dues. Keep it up.
What are you gonna do? Fucking talk funny at us.
Alright. There we go.
Right. Wellington Caves fossils. 1830. This was the discovery of fossilized bones of some quadruped. Quadruped? Yeah, that's right.
Quadruped.
Much larger than the ox or buffalo. These were found in the caves by George Rankin in the middle of that year, and then later by Thomas Mitchell. A reverend by the name of John Dunmore Lang, and announced the discovery as convincing proof of the deluge. Which I thought deluge was fucking raining.
Rain?
It is, isn't it?
Rain.
Yeah, it's like a heavy rain.
Oh, wait, that's why. This, of course, referring to the flood that's in the Bible. Which, yeah.
It's another big deluge.
Yeah. It's a bit of a big fucking...
It was raining a bit, like. Yeah.
Just a bit, like... It's not because the earth was covered in more water.
That was when God was angry drunk.
Aye.
She left the fucking bath on him, man.
Fuming that he'd let them release the platypus. I was fucking pissed, man.
I was doing
You
it,
telling
man.
me you actually fucking sent that out? I remember matting it.
Why'd you take what I said? Literally, I had a full bottle of fucking Frosty Jacks. I had a foul eater.
You sat there and watched us drink it because I was a stingy cunt. Let you have none, and you still went and ate mad that. What do you even call it? Duck-bill platypus. You fucking what?
Send the rains. Send the rains now.
Duck-bill platypus.
Duckbill, yeah.
Get it flooded. It can swim. Oh, it can fucking swim.
It can swim.
Because why would you fucking swim?
Right. Get them all on a boat, apart from that.
It fucking stinks.
Carry on, Norman.
Anatomist? Or anatomist?
Anatomist.
By the name...
Anatomist. You study
that was-
anatomy.
By the name Sir Richard Owen, identified the fossils as the gigantic marsupials. Nototherium and again Diprotodon. Wait, that's fucking... Diprotodon, that's all. Bit of a theme with this fucking marsupials, like... Keep fucking cropping up. The first use of the word bunyip was in 1845. Again, after the discovery of some fossils, a newspaper story called Fossil Remains. Just fucking... They took the time on that. On about...
See a newspaper called Fossil Remains.
Oh, again with this fucking...
I hope that's still a thing.
Again,
I'm signing
this
up
is
right now. There's fossil news on Science Daily. I don't think there's a... Nah, I can't find anything. Sorry, what were you saying?
Again, this is, not me saying it, it's a quote.
Oh, for fuck. Right.
Yeah. They showed a black.
Is that it?
Monetization.
Is that it? They just showed a black.
They showed the black. And Aborigine, the bones, and he recognised it. It was belonging to the Bunyip, which he declared he'd seen.
Oh, convenient.
T-
No, definitely the Bunyip, mate. Them bones,
Say
tell
that,
you
you
now.
know. Just fucking. First of all, what's a fucking Bunyip?
Hold on. Slow it down there, cowboy. Bunyip?
A fucking Bunyip, yeah. They asked him to make a drawing, and he got stuck in with no hesitation. On the account, it goes on about how it killed Aboriginal women, and the most direct evidence of all, that of a man named Mumbauran, who showed several deep wounds on his breast made by the claws of the animal.
I'm not going to bother correcting you on Aboriginal names because it's better.
Fucking probably sounds fucking totally different.
More than likely.
Australian Museum's Bunyip of 1847. A skull was taken from the banks of the Murrumbidgee River named Banranalt. It's fucking shocking this on me, like. Fucking horrible. The skull was unknown
You
to
chose it.
science. Ew.
You chose to do it.
I know, and so it's funny. The skull was unknown to science and was shown to natives and called it a bunyip. But it was found out by experts that it was a deformed skull of a foal or a calf. In March of the same year, a bunyip or a large platypus was sighted having a little sunbathe just outside the customs house in Melbourne.
What the fuck is going on here?
And a huge crowd formed and 3 blokes set off on a boat to catch it. But sadly, when they got about a yard from the fella, he fucked off and disappeared. I didn't blame him. Fucking 3 Australians going, fucking look at that, fucking get your boat, fucking cunt.
These Australians from Essex.
Are these Australians from Hackney?
Blimey, get out of that fucking bastard.
Long way from home, lads.
Fucking struff there, like. So, for this one, William Buckley's account of Bunyips, 1852. Escaped convict. So, take his word.
So you can always trust escape convicts.
William Buckley wrote in his biography of 30 years living with the Raffarong. I forgot about that one. Raffarong people. He records in Lake Moodwarry as well as in most of the others inland. Fucking hell, this is written badly. This is a quote, by the way. Of the others inland is a very extraordinary amphibious animal.
Oh, that's what I was expecting.
Which the natives called the bunyip. He mentions he sees the creature on several occasions. There's a quote. I could never see any part except the back, which appeared to be covered with feathers of a dusky grey colour. It seemed to be about the size of a full-grown calf. I could never learn from any of the natives that they had seen either the head or tail. He also says,
William. It's just a calf, mate. Couldn't see the front of it, but the back of it looked like a calf.
I said it was a rock. It was a fucking rock.
My money's on it being a calf.
He also says he heard the tale of, yet again, an Aboriginal woman being killed. And that has supernatural powers. Because of course it does. From the side of being fucking terrifying.
Because it does.
Right, here's the last one, and this is a fucking long one. Stockwell, Sightings and Drawings, 1857. In an article titled The Bunyip, they're not great, like. Fucking fossil remains. The Bunyip thing. This article reported on drawings made by Edwin Stockwell. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm tired. As he travelled on the rivers of the Murray and the Goulburn. Here's a quote. Amongst the latter drawings, we noticed a likeness of the bunyip, or rather a view of the neck and shoulders of the animal. Mr. Stockwell informs us that the bunyip is a large freshwater seal having 2 small padules or fins attached to the shoulders. A long swan-like neck, a head like a dog, and a curious bag hanging under its jaw, resembling the pouch of a pelican. The animal is covered with hair like the platypus, and the colour is a glossy black. Mr. Stockwell saw no less than 6 of these curious animals at different times. His boat was within 30 feet of one named Maguire's Punt. What the fuck's a punt?
A punt's like a guess. If you have a punt.
I thought a punt was like when you kick a fucking footy.
Huh?
You can. I
footy.
think it's also like it's slang for kicking, but I think it's a betting term, like to have a punt. To place a bet.
Weird.
That's why punters is the name for people who wage bets.
Right.
That makes sense.
On the Goulburn, and he fired at the bunyip, but did not succeed in capturing her. The smallest appeared to be about 5 feet in length, and the largest exceeded 15 feet. The head of the largest was the size of a bullock's head. I don't know what the fuck a bullock is.
A bullock?
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like a bull.
Yeah, and 3 feet out of the water. After taking a sketch of the animal, Mr. Stockwheeler, showed it to several blocks of the girl.
God damn it.
Again, it's still a quote.
I know it's a quote.
You gotta cover yourself, man. Of the Girlburn tribe, who declared that the picture was Bunyip's brother.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Like...
Say what I mean, man.
Nah, it's not him.
Mad.
It's his brother.
Meaning a duplicate or likeness of the Bunyip. The animals moved against the current at the rate of about 7 miles an hour, and Mr. Stockwell states that he could have approached close to the specimens he observed.
Bro, you've never seen them, you don't know what they are, but you measure how fast they're going in water.
You've never seen them, you don't know what they are, but you've also
miles
seen
an hour.
their brother.
Yeah.
That's about 17. Had he not been deterred by the stories of the natives concerning the power of the fury of the Bunyip, and by the fact that his gun had only a single barrel and his boat was a very frail description. These are some variations of that fucking article, or whatever, the story. The Great Bunyip question seems likely to be brought to a close, as Mr. Stockwheeler, an artist and gentleman who has come up the Murray in a small boat, states that he saw one and was unable to take a drawing of this vexed question. The Great Bunion... fucking hell. I fucking put that in twice. We could not succeed in catching him. We have seen the sketch and it puts us in mind of a hybrid between water ball and the great sea serpent. And I'm gonna fucking end it there because I've put too much in there. Like,
there's so much conflict in that. It's weird. It's like you come out of it like I know less than I did going in.
Exactly. I'll put this one in.
So it's not a dog, but it's also a dog, and it might be a calf, but it's not a calf because you only saw the back of it, but it looked like a calf from the back. It also could be a seal.
I think that man, in my learned opinion, just saw a calf.
But I've got a thing for him. However, despite all these articles, he disputed these articles as he never even stated that it was called the Bunyip. It didn't have a swan-like neck, and he said nothing about the size, as he never even seen one. Never even seen the whole thing, sorry. He said that it would be revealed in a life-size diorama, which took him about 4 years to paint and was said to be about a mile long and made of 70 different pictures, but unfortunately the diorama has disappeared and more likely doesn't exist anymore. Fucking hell. Which is fucking convenient.
Yeah.
To like get out of work.
Most of the sources on that sound like they're either just nutcases or convicts as well, which isn't they're not the most believable.
Which is Australia.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, Joel, let the fucking gun through that.
They've definitely skipped it.
Talking like a right fucking tit.
They've definitely skipped it. So, welcome to the end of Norman's Bunyip section. Brad, I believe you've got something you can pronounce.
Hello, I've got the Kraken, and I've got various other deep sea creatures. The differentiation, is that a word?
Nah, fucked it.
Fucked it.
Get in! I'm not the only one. Thank fuck. Do it some more so I feel.
I will, mate. Don't worry, myself. I will. It's gonna get bad. Is that the Kraken is kind of likened to an octopus or a tentacled creature, and there's a lot of kind of imagery out there or artwork based on that idea. Whereas some of the later things I'll be discussing, there have been no known or even rumoured sightings of them, just sounds. So the Kraken, I'll start off with by saying it was first mentioned by King Sverre of Norway in 1180. Then rumoured sightings of the Kraken were established among sailors of Scandinavia in the years to come. Those rumours became legend. In the following centuries, the Kraken entered the world of literature, and many writers would write of their fears of the Kraken in long journeys across water. There'd be quite a few instances where maybe a shark had eaten stray sailors and drowned them, but with them not being able to see, even like years ago, hundreds of years ago, they had very little understanding of even sharks. They'd see these sailors being drowned and they'd see blood and they would not see what killed them, so a lot of people kind of assumed it was the Kraken, and it became like quite a widespread fear.
Makes sense.
Living in 2020 now, you look back on times like that and it's the difference in knowledge is absolutely amazing. Like we know, even still though, we know more about our own solar system than we do our own oceans, which is a bit of a terrifying thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We do know.
The deep sea absolutely fucking terrifies me.
Mate.
In terms of, like
the
life
fucking
forms.
Mariana Trench.
Yeah,
Ah, mate.
I'll get onto that a bit later, because I was looking into the depths that we have explored, and that's one of them that they have managed to get to the bottom of once or twice. I think it's like 10,000 feet down, but that isn't even the deepest. That is just the assumed deepest.
Jesus.
The Marianas Trench is like so many miles deep.
Yeah, I think they said that you could fit Mount Everest into it.
I think it said something like, I remember reading up on it before, like years ago.
I think it would be even more, because I don't think Mount Everest is 10,000 feet. I think it would be Mount Everest and more, which is fucking insane.
The Mariana Trench is elevation is, by comparison, if Mount Everest were placed into the trench at this point, its peak would still be under 1.2 miles of water.
That is
Jesus.
crazy. That is insane. And the pressure's even greater going down as well. Like obviously you can get to the top of Everest, but you physically couldn't get anywhere near the bottom unless the past 100 years they've been able to make these little ships or these little scouts that go down.
Yeah.
And withstand the pressure. I think it was James Cameron actually made a little thing that went down.
The maximum known depth is 36,037 feet.
That is insane.
Which is give or take about 25 metres at the southern end of a small slot-shaped valley in its floor known as the Challenger Deep.
I reckon a Kraken could fit in there.
This is kind of the point I'll get on to, is the Kraken in like legend is absolutely huge, and I wanted to like talk a bit about the possibility like of there being something out there that of that size, because we know that giant squids are 43 feet long, and we know that the largest recorded colossal squid is 49 feet. The traditional double-decker bus is 35 to 40 feet long. So if you picture that stood up and then add another 10 feet, that exists. Not only does that exist, there's before the 21st century there was no photographic evidence of either of them. So it's only in the past 100 years that we've actually found these, and we've only measured 500 giant squid or colossal squid throughout recorded history. And I did a little kind of calculation to tell you like what that means against the size of the ocean. So there's 140 million square miles of ocean on the planet. That would mean we've only recorded one giant squid or colossal squid per 280,000 mile.
Fuck me.
So I'd bet there's something out there that absolutely dwarfs something that is considered big at 49 feet. Like, there's no doubt about it. If you just look at the numbers and think, like, there's something lurking out there.
That video from the Gulf of Mexico where it was like beneath an oil rig or something like that, and they had the camera like panning across the sea, and there was that fucking squid just like.
I don't know what that was, because I don't think it was a giant or colossal squid, because it had like a small body.
I think it was definitely a squid though, wasn't it?
It was a type of squid, but its tentacles were like incredibly long. The tentacles were like 40, 50 feet long, but they're really thin.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of it now.
It's terrifying.
I think it's called the big fin squid.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
weird.
it's a group of rarely seen cephalopods.
Ah, right.
But like what you were saying, like how something like that could exist, I'm not entirely sure. Like if this is rarely seen, then there's definitely something out there that has never been seen but exists. Like surely, if we've only, I can't remember the percentage of the amount of world's oceans we've mapped, but like
It's like
we've
3% or something, I think.
Yeah, it's
we've
something
mapped we know more
small like
about the space than we do about our own bodies of water.
That's nuts, man. It's literally like we spend a lot of time looking for like aliens and stuff, and there's nothing more alien than shit like this. Like
Yeah,
if
there's
you
I'm genuinely of the firm belief that a lot of the things in the deep sea are an alien life form. Now, I don't mean alien as in like it's not, on land. I mean it's not of this world.
yeah,
It can't.
definitely not. I can't. Yeah, there's a like imagine certain things not existing. Like imagine the ocean didn't exist and we were just a land-based species, and like just the entire world was land, and we found a planet that was like pure ocean, and they went below and they found like giant squids and they found like whales and shit.
fucking
We'd be
yeah.
like fucking fascinated. I mean, we are, but not like
No,
for me,
yeah.
not enough. Like I feel like people just kind of take it for granted.
I think because it's too close.
Yeah, I think
It's
people play ignorant as well. Like, oh, why would I want to know about something like that if it's so dangerous?
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, when I was thinking about that, and I was thinking like over the amount of years now that they keep finding the newest record breaking sharks. Like every few years they'll come along and they'll find like a shark that was double the size of the past like biggest one.
yeah,
And obviously sharks are quite easy to monitor because they swim in shallow waters. Like with these things, obviously they swim so deep and they're quite reclusive. That you're not even able to do that. You're not even able to say like, "Oh, we found the new biggest one." So like, if there is like 100 foot, a 200 foot squid down there lurking around, the chances of you finding it are pretty low. And
yeah.
there's also
Yeah.
the fact that they don't have bones, so they can't be fossilized.
There's no
Yeah.
fossilized evidence. Yeah.
So throughout
Suppose that
history,
makes
who knows
sense.
what could have been, and they would never have found it.
Obviously, that's how they found the megalodon, and that is it's
Yeah.
a building. It's a big
He's a
fucking building.
Big lad. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
absolutely huge.
Is the megalodon? Is that where like there's the old picture of like the three blokes standing in its mouth?
Yeah,
Yeah. Fuck that.
and that was real. So fucking God
Yeah.
knows what else was there back in the fucking
Yeah.
dinosaur days.
There was something else that struck us as well. There was a picture of a blue whale, obviously the biggest whale, and they'd get into fights with octopus and squid because the whales hunt them, and obviously they put up a fight. And there was a picture of this whale that was absolutely huge, and they leave scars on around the whale's mouth where
Yeah.
they're trying to fight from suctioning them, and one of them literally
Aye.
had its entire head was covered in these scars. So I was thinking that was a big lad. Came up against a big one.
Tackle that bastard as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the Kraken, if I was to personally like, you look at the standard like adaptation of the Kraken, it's like an apocalyptic beast. It's like the size of countries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Seems a bit far fetched, but for me, something on a smaller scale, I think I could definitely put money on existing.
Oh yeah. Fucking completely, man.
And then I went a bit deeper with this in terms of like sea creatures that have literally never been seen because they are so deep in the ocean. The only way that these certain things have been monitored is through sound. The most famous one is probably the bloop. Have you heard of the bloop?
Oh, yeah.
I was so looking forward to you talking about this.
Yeah.
I fucking love the bloop.
So in 1997, they recorded a sound, and it was off the coast of South Africa, I think, and the sound was picked up 5,000 kilometers away from its origin. So whatever it was loud, and the way they record sound from that deep traditionally is, if they want to know how deep the ocean bed is, they'll put TNT down there, and then they'll blow it up, and then they record kind of the sound of the TNT blowing up from the bottom.
That's the job I want. Is to just
Yeah,
blow shit up.
Push TNT off boats and blow it up. So they record the sound waves of that to determine how deep something is, and they use the same kind of things to measure sounds from far away. So whatever this thing was, it's easily found on YouTube. You can kind of listen to it, and it's like this. It is like a bloop is the only way to describe it. It's kind of like an air pocket, but experts have studied it and said that it's more similar to a blue whale, but that sound coming from a blue whale, it was 300 times louder than what the average blue whale produced.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell.
And obviously scientists jumped on it and tried to dispute it by saying it was an iceberg breaking.
Yeah, icequake.
Yeah.
Aye, it's the one story. It was like a part of it shifting off and grinding against the iceberg before like falling into the water.
Yeah, they've tried to make that argument, but just like the other side where there's no real physical evidence of that existing, there was no real physical evidence of that iceberg. So both sides are kind of clutching at straws. But then there's another bit of the argument which there's loads of these sounds that have been recorded from other potential creatures down there. There's they've got like weird names when I was looking into them. So there's the bloop, there's Julia, there's slow down, upsweep.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
And the 52 hertz whale, which is the loneliest whale in the world.
Sorry
yeah.
about that whale.
They've been following that for how many years is it? Like 30, 40 years? Something like that?
It's been a long time because it's something to do with whale songs reverberate at such a frequency that other whales can obviously hear them, but for some reason this whale's mating sounds reverberate at a different frequency to other whales, so they can't pick it up.
Yeah.
And it's been looking for the last 30 years. Honestly, and Max is so fucking sad, I think, with this sad, lonely whale was kicking about.
Yeah. There is like 400 grand to do a documentary on it, and I think it said somewhere that Leonardo DiCaprio was one of the donors.
Is he gonna? Are we gonna play the
He's
whale?
gonna play the
Yeah, I he's gonna fuck the whale.
I'd watch that.
People grand to watch Leonardo DiCaprio fuck a whale.
100%.
I'd be him.
But yeah, the counter argument to the scientists saying that it was an iceberg breaking is there's loads of these different sounds coming from these different named creatures or whatever, and they're all different frequencies, they're all different pitches, they're all different lengths. Where if an iceberg was breaking, or the other argument was an iceberg is dragging across the ocean bed, it would just be the same noise. It wouldn't be a kind of a different pitch. It wouldn't be a kind of a different like rhythm. Like rhythm's a big one as well.
Yeah.
I think like slow down in particular like builds to a crescendo, drops, and then does it again. So there's no real explanation of why, all these different icebergs. Like it's just like a cheap thing for these scientists to come out with of just like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, it's an iceberg.
Yeah. I think that's one thing scientists do.
Yeah.
Is disprove everything.
It is. I respect that. That's the job, but at the same time, you've got to have a bit of like open-mindedness and
have fun with it.
Yeah, curiosity. Obviously, there are scientists out there that would like never play down the potential of these like creatures at the bottom of the sea being absolutely huge, like just beyond anything we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But then there's the kind of close-minded, well, if it doesn't exist, if I haven't seen it type thing.
Aye, which really, but that gets into the theoretical side of sciences, which is like it's its own entire like subset of scientific studies is theoretical sciences.
Yeah.
Like you get theoretical physicists. I'm not going to pretend to know what the fuck that's about, but it's like saying, oh well, this could be happening, this could exist,
Yeah.
So I suppose it could be like, yeah, essentially theoretically, yeah.
Yeah. But there's so for me again, like the Kraken and the potential existence of a giant squid-like creature, there's potentially a whale the size of something we've never ever seen before down there, or I mean literally who knows, these sounds they're so alien a few of them don't even belong to any kind of set of sea creatures that we currently know of.
Yeah.
Aye.
And when I was doing a bit of research the other night on new sea creatures, there's a new shark they found a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Let's see if
Is
I
it
can
like
find
the Greenland shark or something like that?
No, it's what's its name?
Because they can live for like 350 years.
It's called a ninja lantern shark,
Fucking hell yeah, man.
and it's like it's a glow in the dark shark at it's about 20 inches long. And if you Google it and have a look at it, it's so weird. It looks like a fossil. It doesn't look like it's alive.
Oh, what the fuck's going on there?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? And the mental thing about that one was it swims in fresh waters, so you can there's a picture of it. I think the third Google image in, it's against like pale blue waters. That swims close to the surface, and it's fully glow in the dark, which I don't think they've got any pictures of it glowing, but yeah, it fully glows in the dark.
Oh my god.
How cool is that? They've just found that. Like, that's literally last year was a recent discovery.
Fucking tail fin's massive.
I know.
There's things out there like that we haven't found, and yet we're closed off to the idea that there's something literally ginormous or mental at the bottom.
It looks like it's in pain. It's fucking...
Yeah.
Ah!
There's another. I listened to like a marine biologist podcast a few years ago as well, and it was just loads of them in the different favorite like ocean floor creatures, like as deep as you can get. Google red-lipped batfish.
Red-lipped
it's
So
something
it's
that
like calling someone, fuck off, man, you red-lipped batfish, fuck off.
it's
Oh, I've seen this before.
it crawls under the ocean bed, and the red-lipped one. I don't think there's any pictures of the female one because it's not, unless it's a different species. But it's the males have red lips to attract the females.
One of them looks like Ron Perlman.
Well, I've came across one where it's got a little top hat and a cane doing the hello my
I've seen
baby,
it.
hello my honey.
Oh, I've just seen it there. There's a picture of it. It's kind of like a crab.
Yeah.
It's got like a crab.
Like it's got like a hammerhead features as well.
It can't swim. It literally just has to crawl
Dick.
across the ocean bed. So
You just call it a dick.
Aye. You live in
You
it.
grew up.
Yeah, that's the same as fucking you live on land, swim in the air.
if you took its little legs away and just kept the arms, it just looks like a little sea geodude.
Fucking ocarina. Is that fucking... Is it the angelfish? That
Angelfish?
is it? It's got like a fucking light.
Oh, the angle.
Anglerfish.
Angler.
Anglerfish, aye.
The anglerfish, yeah.
Aye,
Yeah, they're
that's
crazy.
That's a deep sea one, aye.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. I mean, imagine that, the size of a fucking building.
So the reason there's stuff down there that's so ugly like that is because they don't evolve like most things, because most things evolve in
Well,
light, and that's
Don't they
why
evolve differently again because of the immense amount of pressure as well?
it's partly that, but it's
Yeah.
mostly because things on land, like say for example like zebras and stuff, the way they evolve is they abide by the laws of symmetry. So like the human face it's mostly symmetrical because we live in light. If things don't live in light, they don't abide by the same laws, so they kind of just evolve in their own way, and nothing's symmetrical, nothing's like nice to look at, which is why you go down deep and look at things like that and they're so ugly.
Ah, right.
So we evolved to be pretty.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you think about why, you've got to attract a mate. Like you've got to kind of be
because
I suppose that
obviously
makes sense,
symmetry is
doesn't
like
yeah.
attractive.
You've got to attract a mate to keep our species going, whereas things down there,
They just look the same. Well,
they're not
look
putting.
gross it.
Was my
Yeah,
mate,
look gross. I look gross. Let's make this happen.
Not
I
gonna
mean,
put you
everyone's
anywhere. I'm
pretty lights off,
anglerfish.
so.
Book you with me weird light. No, I don't know how I'm making it.
That game
That's
I was telling you about last night, Norm, the Outer Wilds. I don't know if I told
yeah.
you, Alex. There's a planet, and as soon as you land on it, you can't see anything. It's like proper misty, and then you just see this light, and obviously you fly towards it thinking, "What's this?" And then you just see a massive open mouth, and it's the the planet's home to like an absolutely ginormous anglerfish, and as soon as you go into its mouth, it closes and you die.
Fun.
Yeah,
Really fun.
very fun. That's why I uninstalled it.
Oh,
I might download it later on, actually.
I'm sure I've seen on a documentary that's why they actually have that light, obviously to see. And
No, they're blind, aren't they? They just do it to attract fish.
yeah, like to
Oh, is that why? I didn't really know
sneak,
that.
like get
Yeah,
fish to
it's-
sneak in. And fucking
It's
considering the
to
size of the
attract fish.
gob.
Wow, man, what a fucking crazy animal this is. That's nuts. Like that's something just evolves with a light on its head.
Yeah,
Fuck, does that
that's
happen?
what baffles me. Like, I mean, we all emit light, so I think that's where it probably comes from.
It's something called, I believe it's bioluminescence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the word.
Because there's a place in Florida where you can do tours.
Yeah.
And you go kayaking, and it's like all this like blue.
That's
light.
due to like bioluminescent plankton and algae
Yeah.
and that.
David Attenborough did a documentary a few years ago purely on bioluminescence.
I like these blue LED
cool.
lights.
It's just him in his
I
room.
I take
I
them
have
for.
fairy lights around my television when I watch Netflix.
I have taken some of these little fancy mushrooms, and I'm going now to the Florida coast to look at some bioluminescent algae.
That was good.
Cuts to like David Attenborough just sitting there, fucking hair, dishevelled, shirt wide open on the beach.
It's just
Oh,
imagine
my
him just
God,
fucking
man.
putting his hand
Yeah.
up, scooping it up, and just giving it a fucking slurp.
Do you think-
Just wet my whistle a bit.
Do you think that if
He starts going blue.
were to drink this algae, I would become bioluminescent myself?
Bow down to me.
My kids
I
are
am
begging
the
me.
luminescent.
My kids are begging me not to do this.
Fuck,
You
and
get
I
into
cannot
Boris
stress
Johnson there,
this.
I know. Same thing. There's a
Fuck,
I
and
see
I cannot
these
stress this enough.
Luminescent.
Them kids.
stay inside. Don't stay inside. Don't eat bioluminescence. I'm going to eat bioluminescence.
Don't do it, but maybe yes, do it. See you later.
If you Google David Attenborough bioluminescence, there's just a picture of him and a bioluminescent little worm thing, and it's wholesome.
Is that you done with the?
It's just a lovely fella.
It's now me desktop background. Yeah, that's me done. Those were the two things. Obviously, the Kraken itself was the cryptid I want to talk about, but then the other ones were kind of they're a bit hazier because you can't necessarily have
define them.
a cryptid is like a set list of defined creatures, whereas those aren't
Aye.
really
just-
in the
yeah.
mainstream consciousness yet or haven't been seen. So there is concept art out there of them based on like the sound. So if you look at Julia, that has its own kind of like concept art of what it would look like.
So do you want to just do one more and then leave it there, or?
It's up to you guys.
Right,
So
just
yeah,
came up, Julia,
I
right?
don't mind. I don't mind all in one because they were kind of short
Yeah.
enough to talk about.
Do you want to do one more, Norman, or do you want me to just do mine and leave it there?
I do yours because mine's only going to be short anyway. Like,
All right,
it's-
sound. So this one is my. I mean, it's hard to get back into the topic of cryptids after we've just talked about bioluminescence and deep sea fucking
Yeah,
creatures
we've
for
got
the
into
last
that.
25 minutes.
Yeah.
This is my all-time favorite cryptid, and it's the one and only motherfucking Mothman, the Harbinger of Destruction.
I actually don't know much about this, so I'm excited to hear some shit.
So the Mothman is described as, again, a bipedal creature, but this is a winged humanoid. But despite his name, which was given him by newspapers, he looks absolutely nothing like a moth.
Oh,
His appearance is more like that of a large humanoid owl, which honestly sounds more terrifying than a moth. But then again, I would rather have an owl fly about my room at night than a fucking moth, to be
True.
honest with
you remember a fucking time of walking home and a fucking moth just smacked you in the face? Well,
you. Twice.
fucking
That's
huge.
happened twice. Moth was about the size of a bat. Like I've been fucking... I felt like I got slide. I felt
mate,
like someone
some
ran
big
next
boy
to us and
moths out
fucking
there.
just-
Although I kind of like the ones that look like a fucking Vulcan bomber.
Yeah, no, they're pretty cool.
Fucking mint.
So Mothman's coloration varies from black, grey and even brown, although it's usually a very dark shade of brown. He's said to be around 7 feet tall with a wingspan of about 10 to 14 feet or more, plus the ability to fly over 100 miles per hour, which is an unnecessary flex, to be honest. Sometimes he's described as having no head at all, with his eyes being set in his chest. About his eyes, it's said that they seem to be glowing or in the very least reflective, as well as being red. However, not much is known about the actual face of the Mothman, other than the features of his face were horrible and monstrous, which makes sense, really. It's also said that anyone who encounters the Mothman and gets a close look suffers from extreme fear and psychological distress, sometimes lasting for months or years afterwards. In particular, people say that they sense a sense of pure evil, and it overcomes them whenever they see his eyes. In terms of his behaviour and abilities, he can fold his wings and walks with a weird shuffle that many witnesses compare to a penguin, which is somewhat less alarming and takes the fucking threat out of that. Am I meant to be scared? When the fuck was a waddle ever scary?
I'm gonna get you.
Now, when he flies, which presumably looks a lot cooler than when he's fucking waddle, he unfolds his wings and shoots straight up with great speed, levelling out to go on his merry way. He's rarely observed flapping his wings except for when taking off, with witnesses often describing his flight pattern as straight up like a helicopter. As previously mentioned, Mothman can fly much faster than any bird should be able to fly, which was corroborated by the victims who suffered from what seems to be Mothman's favourite activity, chasing after cars. During which time...
They just got lights on them.
That makes sense,
fair.
actually.
Yeah, it does.
No,
Smack on
remember,
the fucking light.
he looks out like a moth. During the chasing cars pastime, he'll fly in front of them and sometimes even hit and claw at the roof.
Dick.
Speaking of sightings...
Ignorant.
I know that is just straight up ignorant. Speaking of sightings, the first sighting of the Mothman happened on November 12th, 1966. 5 men who were digging a grave at a cemetery in Clendenin, West Virginia, claimed to have seen a man-like figure fly low from the trees over their heads. Shortly after, on November 15th, 2 young couples from Point Pleasant, Virginia, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Millette, told the police they saw a large creature whose eyes glowed red when the car's headlights picked it up. They described it as a large flying man with 10-foot wings, which was following their car while they were driving in an area outside of town known as the TNT area, a site of a former World War II munitions plant.
Mm.
Over the next few days, other people reported similar sightings. 2 volunteer firemen who saw it said it was a large bird with red eyes. Mason County Sheriff George Johnson commented that he believed the sightings were due to an unusually large heron he termed, and I fucking shit you not, a shite pork. I had to Google it to make sure it was a real thing, and it is. It's a green heron.
Oh, right, it's a real animal.
John Dan,
Okay.
he's got his fucking shite pork in.
It's called a shite pork.
I thought some guy just called it that. Sounds like something your dad would call a bird if you got pissed off for it.
You fucking shite pork. No, it's a green heron, I believe.
Oh,
and I
bless it.
And other sightings include reports of the creature's eyes glowing when a man's flashlight was shone on it and when it was spotted in a field, as well as reportedly being the reason behind buzzing noises coming from said man's television set and the disappearance of his German Shepherd. Though, to me, that just sounds like someone who's after a new telly and was fucking sick of his dog. Now, earlier on I mentioned the Mothman as being the Harbinger of Destruction. The reason behind this comes from the collapse of the Silver Bridge in, I believe again, West Point, Virginia, and the resulting death of the 46 people, which happened on December 15th, 1967. The people of Point Pleasant believe that the sightings of the Mothman were connected and were in some way a warning of what was going to happen. This theory has gained traction across the globe, as many people have reported seeing Mothman or at least a very similar cryptid before a tragic incident. An example of this would be the collapse of a mine in Freiburg, Germany. On the 10th of September 1978, a group of 21 miners arrived at the mine in the morning to find a dark figure with wings on its back in the entrance to the mine itself. When they approached it, it unfurled its wings and let out a sound like 50 people screaming or a train in peril trying to brake at the sight of a twisted rail.
Fucking hell.
Jeez.
And choosing to stay outside the mine and work on their other tasks, as well as presumably trying to ignore the absolutely massive amount of shit in the drills. Workers then got on with any of the tasks that they could do. Soon after, though, the workers were disturbed by a large explosion from within the mine. The presence of the creature had prevented the workers from entering the mine, ultimately saving the workers' lives. But what is weird about this is 6 of the 21 mine workers who were apparently saved by the creature were working at the mine 6 months later. 2 of those men, who had taken it upon themselves to detail the indisputable facts of the case for the rest of the world, had died quite suddenly, broke and destitute. It's also said that the other workers were plagued by psychiatric problems. The monster in question was not called the Mothman by the workers, however, but rather referred to as the Freeburg Shrieker, though due to its very similar appearance to the Mothman, people are under the impression that it's the same beast. There was also one from Chernobyl, but that had cropped up a lot in recent years, so I didn't really want to include it, because like, I know all this is like, it's weird for me to call into question the validity of an internet story when we're talking about cryptids, but at least these are from like years ago and it's been seen by many people. So this one was it was to do with the Chernobyl incident on April 26, 1986, I believe. And apparently it was called the Blackbird of Chernobyl, and people had spotted it in Ukraine, weeks prior to the actual incident. But again, I didn't include it because it was just a bit, iffy.
I don't know whether or not you would think that people from years ago would be more, I don't know, like believable than people these days.
Susceptible to belief.
Yeah, because people have always been fucking nuts. But
I think people back then may have been, like, if you think in terms of scientific research and what is readily available for the public to read, I think people 1966 was like, what, 54 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like from 54 years ago and prior, I think a lot of people would have been more susceptible to the belief that these kind of things exist. But when it comes to something like
nowadays,
Mothman,
it's like anything for a quick story, like...
Yeah.
I think nowadays people are a lot more cynical and critical as well.
Yeah.
Of things of that nature. So
because we feel like we've seen everything, like, we feel like there's evidence for everything. You feel like if there was something like that, like, it would be on World Star, like, within a day.
Pretty much. But I think, like just to wrap this segment up, I don't believe in the Mothman's existence at all, because it just seems completely impossible for that sort of thing to actually exist, to be honest with you. But when it comes to Bigfoot and the following like subspecies of Bigfoot, I believe they could completely exist.
Yeah, the Bigfoot seems viable.
Fully, it's the most plausible one, and like I don't believe in ghosts, but I do believe in like certain creatures existing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think there's one thing that evolution shows you is that things are fucked up, like even based on things that do exist that we can't see. So the fact that people are willing to downplay stuff that could and we haven't seen yet is just weird.
I think everything's more believable than the fucking Bunyip.
Mate, the Bunyip is... I don't want to
loads
talk
of fucking
about
shite
the Bunyip
stories.
ever again.
I say this. Did you?
Do you know what's scary about the
Dunno.
Bunyip? The confusion it leaves you in. That's what's scary about the
Literally,
Bunyip.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing inherently terrifying about its 17 descriptions. What's scary is the fact you hear them all and you sit there thinking, well, what the fuck? Like, now I need an answer.
It's ruined me day 'cause it looks like 30 animals.
And if you got someone like me fucking reading it out to you.
And it's just a cough.
That's the truth here.
And it is just a cough.
Yeah.
Or a seal.
Yeah, that one guy fucked it up for everyone. Hey lads, I found the Bunyip. What was it?
Well, I couldn't see it from the front, but from the back looks like
definitely a calf.
Looks like a baby cow. So
But they can't swim.
Not just cows can swim.
Oh, I'm just saying for like what he was saying.
All right.
We're gonna shut this.
Well, there you can.
We're gonna shut this fella up before he exposes fucking centuries of bullshit. He's gonna fucking expose hundreds of years.
It's a cow. It's a fucking cow. It's not fucking. Move along.
Nothing to say. Just a cow. Right, so I think that just about wraps up this podcast.
Aye, it's been a long one, but I enjoyed that.
Been a long one, aye. But thanks very much for listening. If you've made it this far, if you turned off during Norman's segment, don't fucking blame you. But yeah, man, thanks a lot for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
See you again
See you
soon.
next time. Cheers.
Ta-da.
In a bit.